Hi, everyone. Welcome to our online fall education workshop. This workshop is co-sponsored by AARP's Community Challenge Grant, as well as the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz County Empowered Aging Division. So first off, welcome. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself as the presenter and a little bit about our program. I'm Aries Bartel, and I'm a program coordinator for Empowered Aging Division of the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz County. So if you were here in person, I'd have you introduce yourselves to your neighbor using name pronouns and discuss why you're here today. I can only assume that you're watching this video because you might have some fears of falling. Perhaps you've already fallen before and you don't want to repeat that incident, and you're here to get some tips on how to prevent falls and make your life a little bit safer and feel a little bit more confident. So Empowered Aging is comprised of 6 programs. They're all geared toward our senior population here in Santa Cruz County. We also help out San Benito County and Monterey County with several of our programs. We have the Helping Hands program, which is small home modifications and yard cleanups. We have falls prevention, which Helping Hands is a part of as well. Our falls prevention also encompasses our Matter of Balance program, which is an 8-week evidence-based program that can help prevent falling and make participants more aware of the fears they have surrounding falling and how to kind of combat that. And then we do 1-hour fall awareness workshops like this one, which will most likely be shorter than an hour because it's just online. We also have a transportation and grocery shopper program. This can give seniors rides to the doctor and grocery store, as well as grocery delivery to homebound older adults in our community. We have Stay Connected, which is calls for isolated seniors in our community, and RSVP, which is the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. So if you would like to volunteer and help serve your community, we'd be happy to have you. These are all programs that address issues facing seniors, and they're increasingly necessary because our senior population is the most quickly expanding population here in Santa Cruz County. So our workshop goals today are to understand common causes of falls, to learn how to make our home environment safer, to develop habits that help prevent falls, to learn what to do if you do fall, and identify some community resources that are available to you. So 1 in 4 older adults fall each year. This is a very common problem. And unfortunately, only about half will actually tell their doctor. So common causes of falling include chronic conditions, medication side effects, environmental hazards, loss of balance, muscle weakness, age-related changes. Oddly enough, the fear of falling is actually a contributing factor to falling. But the list goes on. There are a lot of reasons why someone might experience a fall. Falling can obviously be really frightening. But our goal here is not to let the fear of falling stop us from being able to do the things that we want to do. By yielding to the fear of falling, we might be putting limits on ourselves that can reinforce both the fear of falling and the consequences of falling. So like I had said, evidence proves that the fear of falling is a contributing factor to falling itself. So I want to empower you with these 3 tips, these 3 points of knowledge about falls. 1, most falls are preventable. There are things we can do to make sure that we don't fall. 2, you are not alone in the fear of falling. Falling is scary for everyone. This is a big fear that disproportionately affects our older adult population, but falling is scary for anyone, right? Nobody wants to take a fall. And then 3, learning about how to prevent falls helps retain independence. So by learning how to prevent falls, by empowering yourself this way, we can help you be able to age in place and retain that independence. So when is it an appropriate time to do a home safety checklist? If you have a fear of falling, if you've fallen recently, especially in your own home, if your home is visibly cluttered or your walkways are not free, if your doctor has recommended it, If you're concerned about aging in place and retaining independence, these are all great reasons to do a home safety checklist. AARP has an awesome home fit guide that can help you kind of make sure your home is up to standards. CDC also has a home safety checklist. The good news is there is really no bad time for a home safety check. So even if none of these things currently apply to you, it's still good to do a home safety check. One, so that you get used to the action of doing a home safety check. And two, because there's almost always something that you can identify that is a fall hazard. Even if none of these things on the list right now apply to you, there is most likely something in your house that's a fall hazard that can be changed or moved so that it will be a little safer. Even better news is that our Helping Hands program at the Volunteer Center offers free home safety checks. We have volunteers who were our retired nurses, our retired occupational and physical therapists, and they are happy to come to your house and do a home safety check for you, walk through your house with you, and kind of identify any safety concerns or fall hazards. So that's really great news, and you can always call us for one of those. How to do a home safety checklist. You can use a free home safety checklist and walk through your home yourself and identify and assess safety hazards. When you're identifying these hazards, you should do your best to mitigate them. So if you notice that there is a rug that's non-slip, you want to get that rug out right away and see if you can replace it with a non-slip rug. If you have your walkways and they're cluttered, there are trip hazards in your walkways, you want to make sure that you're trying your best to mitigate that and get rid of those fall hazards. You can have a family member or friend use the free checklist and assist you with it, or do this for you if you're not able to. Home safety checks don't have to be something that you do alone. You can enlist friends and family to help you. If you have a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, you can ask them if home safety checks are a service that they offer. Most physical therapists and occupational therapists will be able to do a home safety check for you and make recommendations based on what is going on in your home and what's going on with your health. And if all else fails, or if you just want to connect with a really friendly, really awesome volunteer, you can call Helping Hands at the Volunteer Center and ask for a free home safety check from one of our amazing volunteers. All you have to do is call 831-427-5070. So there are different checklists that are floating around out there, and I want to do a little bit to explain about these checklists. The Helping Hands program uses the CDC checklist to do a home safety check. It's pretty extensive. It is a comprehensive checklist. It's tried and true. Occupational or physical therapists might use a different checklist. They might use something that's been developed by the facility that they work in. But what I want to do right now is let's take a look at a condensed version of the CDC checklist, just so you kind of have an idea of what is on this checklist and what kind of hazards you should be watching out for in your own home. So the home safety checklist goes area by area. And like I said, this is a condensed version of the CDC checklist that we use, so it is a little shorter. It's in a little bit more print-friendly writing, but it will go room by room and have you identify some common hazards that might exist in each area of your house. So for bathrooms, the big thing that we really want to make sure you do is install grab bars in the shower, the tub, by the toilet. Grab bars are really important in preventing falls because they give you something to hang on to and use to stabilize yourself. And like I said, our Helping Hands program installs grab bars for free. We can give you up to 3 free grab bars. We also do a variety of other home safety modifications, so make sure to ask about those too. You should be using non-slip mats in the bathtub or the shower. Nothing worse than a slippery mat that causes you to fall, right? Set the water heater to 120 Fahrenheit or lower. We don't want anyone getting burned, right? Burning can, cause you to, if the water burns you and you try to jump out of the way, that can cause you to fall. Turn on night lights in bathrooms or on the way to the bathroom. If your hallway is really dark, having a nice little night light to kind of illuminate it in case you have to get up and make a trip to the bathroom in the night is good. Having one of those plug-in night lights in the bathroom. I know you probably don't want to turn on the overhead light in the middle of the night, wake yourself up. That's what night lights are for. It's a great resource. And then make sure all of your bath mats have rubber backing. Again, this is for that non-slip safety standard. Living areas. We want to make sure that our pathways are clear of furniture or other clutter. You should have walkways that are safe enough to walk through without bumping into things or tripping over things. Secure your rugs with double-sided tape. We don't want to have rugs that kind of like do that flipping over or wrinkling or have bumps in the rug. Those are trip hazards. Those make it real easy to fall. So make sure that your rugs are either non-slip, that they have rubber backing, or that they're secured with very strong double-sided tape. Place electrical and phone cords out of the way. I know I'm guilty of this one. I'm always tripping over my own cell phone cord. Make sure that phone cords are not in your walkway. Make sure they're in a place where they are safe and they're not going to get snagged or pulled. Arrange furniture so household items are in reach. Another safety hazard, a fall hazard, would be, if your remote is on the coffee table and you are sitting in your chair, you're reaching over, you can fall out of your chair quite easily. So make sure that the items that you need are in reach from where you typically sit, where you typically stand, where you usually hang out, and that you don't have to be, reaching over things or leaning out of your chair in a dangerous way. And then repair loose or frayed carpet. If you've got any loose or frayed carpet, floorboards, stairs, any of that, make sure that that is in good repair. And again, this is something that helping hands will often be able to help with. For your kitchen, store knives, cleaning products, and matches and lighters out of reach. You don't want to put those in your fall path, right? You don't want to fall into something dangerous like that. Make sure to use heat-resistant oven mitts. This is another thing where you don't want to get burnt. That's general home safety, right? You don't want to get burnt, but you also don't want to touch something hot, surprise yourself, jump, and accidentally fall, right? Store heavier objects at waist level. Make sure that your heavy objects aren't the ones that you're going to have to reach overhead for. You don't want to disturb your balance that way. Keep your floors dry. This is another one I'm guilty of. I will, spill water from my hands or from a bowl and just kind of leave it. You shouldn't be doing that. Make sure that if you spill water, if you spill anything, you're drying that up promptly. And if bending down is difficult, if there are health concerns surrounding that, you can always, get one of those grabbers. You can put a paper towel on the floor and kind of use your foot to dry and then use a grabber to pick it up, right? Store food and kitchen tools high enough to keep pets out. We don't want to cause a safety hazard either for us or for our pets, right? And then bedrooms. Either leave a light on or use night lights. I know leaving a light on feels like a really tall ask, right? I have to sleep in the dark. But having a nightlight is a great compromise. Having a real dim nightlight, just so you can kind of see where you're going, is a good way to make sure that you won't be walking in the dark. So let's take a pause. Let's take a time out. Are you guilty of one or more of the things listed on the home safety checklist? So I want you to give some real thought to this. I already kind of cupped to being guilty to a few things on this home safety checklist, right? Most of us will have something on that list that resonates with us that we could make more safe in our homes. So if you answered yes, like most people most likely did, I want you to think about what you can do immediately to make the situation more safe and reduce the risk of falling. I also want you to think about whether or not you're willing to make this change. Being willing to make the change is half the battle, right? And the third thing that I want you to think about is whether or not you can make this change alone or if it's something that you're going to need help with. Maybe you need some grab bars installed, but you don't have the first clue of how to put in grab bars. Neither do I, but I know a great bunch of volunteers who would be happy to help you out. So what to do if you do fall? I like to use the acronym STOP because STOP tells you what you're supposed to do, but it's also an acronym for your next three steps after you stop, right? So the S, the first step is just to stop. Stop, don't move, don't try to scramble your way back up, try not to panic. So you're going to just stop, you're going to pause for a beat. Next, you're going to take a deep breath. You're going to take a big breath. 1 or 2 breaths is good. A couple more if you're feeling really panicked. We want to make sure that you are calm. Next, you're going to go ahead and observe. O is for observe. So what you want to do is you want to take kind of a full assessment of your body. Try to notice if any part of you feels hurt, if you feel like you are injured. Try to discover kind of how seriously you're injured. So has anything been broken? Have you been scratched? Are you just, are you okay and you just kind of took a bump? You want to make sure you do a full body scan and a full body check-in. And then once you have stopped, taken a breath to calm down, observed if you're hurt or where you might be hurt and how seriously, that is when it is okay to proceed. Only once you've checked in with yourself and gotten into a state of relative calm should you go ahead and try to proceed with either trying to safely get yourself up, if that is safe to do so, or trying to get help, if help is going to be what you need. And a lot of people ask how you would access that help, right? So I recommend that you make sure you always have your cell phone on you, or if not a cell phone, some type of fitness watch that can sense when you've fallen and provide an alert. This is really important because if you don't have a way to contact people and you need help getting up, it might be a while that you're laying on the ground, and that's not a safe thing to be doing, right? So make sure that you've always got that cell phone on you. If you fall, make sure you do this thorough self-evaluation before trying to move. If you call 911, you can expect to give first responders information about yourself and your medications, any chronic conditions, and they're going to ask if you've fallen before. So first responders will perform a check to see if you're in need of additional medical treatment. And you do have the right to accept or refuse additional medical treatment. But this is just kind of what happens if you fall and you do have to call 911. So remember, though, you have the right to dignified and informed medical care. So you are at any point allowed to stop, check in, ask what medical professionals are doing, and have them explain the process to you as well. This is a right that you have. Who should you tell if you fall? At very least, if there is only one person that you are going to tell, it should be your doctor. It is really difficult for a doctor to get a holistic picture of your health if they don't know that you've fallen. So it's really important to share this information with your doctor so that they can give you the best medical care possible. Other people who you should tell include your family, your caretakers, and your physical and occupational therapists. And I know it can be difficult to be transparent about medical issues sometimes, but by telling your family, your caretakers, your physical and occupational therapists, what you're doing is you're allowing people to have a holistic idea of what your health is like and what kind of help you might need. By understanding what kind of help or what kind of care you might need, we can ensure that you're getting the best care possible, right? So it is really important to have these conversations, even if they're difficult, even if they are unpleasant, right? And they don't have to be unpleasant either. Um, it is, just fine to be able to tell people that you have fallen. And that is how you can prevent falling from happening again, right? By telling people that this has happened and by getting the appropriate resources. So some resources for you. Like I've said, the Empowered Aging Division at the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz County. We have our Helping Hands program for home modifications. That's grab bars, grip tape, fixing stairs, other, small home improvements. And then we have Matter of Balance, which is our evidence-based 8-week fall prevention class. If you liked this workshop, I really encourage you to get signed up for one of our Matter of Balance classes in the future. They're awesome classes. It's so great to see our participants kind of find a like-minded community, and be able to really kind of frankly and transparently discuss the fear of falling and how it should be approached and how you can kind of empower yourself against that fear. So you can also see the Volunteer Center website, where you can call 831-427-5070, and at extension 115 you will find me. I can tell you about upcoming dates. I can have you get signed up for a class. You can use the CDC Home Safety Self-Check. Your other best resource is your healthcare practitioner. Your healthcare practitioner is the one who can kind of assist you through all of these things. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. I thank you all for watching, and I hope that this has had some good resources and good information for you. Don't be a stranger. Don't be afraid to reach out if this is something that you see yourself needing assistance with in the future, or if you just want to connect with some awesome volunteers. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.